Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us this evening. It's great to see so many faces here today. It's awesome. So I am Mandy Lee. I'm the president and CEO of the American Canyon Chamber of Commerce. Thank you again for being here. Tonight would not be possible without our sponsors, so I do want to recognize them first because they make the wheels turn. So we have Western Wine Services that sponsored the evening tonight, and we have Eagle Vines Realty that sponsored as well. A special shout out to James in the back with Napa Valley TV. He's broadcasting this live on our Facebook page. Hopefully it's working, so hi to those Facebook watchers. And thank you to the Chamber Preferred DJ Jerry in the back, for providing the sound this evening. I'd like to extend a welcome to all of our elected officials that are present. We have Marianne Mancuso, President of the Napa Valley College Board of Trustees. Barry Christian with our Park and Open Space. Supervisor Belia Ramos is here. Cindy Biederman with the Napa County Office of Education Trustee. Joe with the Napa Valley Unified School District Trustee. And with our council, we have Mayor Garcia, Miriam Abu-Damas, Council members David Oro, and Council member Mark Joseph. So for those who don't know, the Chamber of Commerce exists to be a catalyst for smart business growth and development, a convener for business leaders and influencers, and a champion for American Canyon. We're hosting this evening because we see the importance behind our council. Though the Chamber does not endorse candidates, we have a close relationship with all of those that sit on City Council. And tonight, we just want to make this open to the public so everyone can come and learn about important issues. We hope by the end of this evening that we are all educated and understand what the council runners are running for, and we can walk away with some of that knowledge. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our candidates. Alphabetical order by last name, closest to me is current council member Mark Joseph. We have contender Jason Kishineff. Current council member David Oro. Contender Robert Vega. And contender Pierre Washington. As this is a Chamber of Commerce forum, our questions are related to the theme economic development. We have prepped 5 questions from the Chamber. After that, we are receiving audience questions. So when you walked in, if you got here early enough for a program, there's a question form in there. You can fill it out. If you didn't receive one, there should be some question slips still in the back. Fill that out. You can just raise your hand in the air and one of our volunteers will come and pick it up so you don't have to leave your seat. So how this evening will work is first we will go through introductions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and their running platform. After that, we will start with the first question. Before the candidates sat down, they picked out of a bowl who would go first. So leading off our introductions will be Mark Joseph. From him, we will go to the left. Your guys is right, but our left. Go that way. After that, we will ask our first question, which will start with Robert Vega, and that way. And then after that, each question will be asked to each candidate. Therefore, each candidate answering a question first, so it's fair. Okay? The questions have been sealed. They've been put together by myself and our Government Affairs Committee. The Chamber runs a Government Affairs Committee that organized this evening event. If you're part of that committee, could you just raise your hand, please? We thank you guys so much for working with us and organizing events like this. So it's legit sealed, so no one has seen these except for 3 people. So now I'd like to hand it over to Mark to do his 2-minute introduction. Oh, and we have our timekeeper at the front. So when you guys are 30 seconds close to your time, Miss Valerie will raise her timesheet, and then you know to wrap it up.
Is this live? Well, sounds live. Okay. Well, first of all, as the first speaker, I want to thank the Chamber as well as everyone who showed up tonight. It is very heartening, a little bit nerve-wracking to see all these many people, but I do appreciate that you're here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Many of you know me. I've been here in the community for 25 years. I've served as a city employee, as a finance director and city manager, as a community volunteer with the Arts Foundation, the Relay for Life, Kiwanis, and of course 2 terms as your city council person. To go back a little bit, my wife Cheryl is here. Our 2 kids are grown. They have kids of their own. But coming here, I came with a 30-year background in government experience. I served in the cities of Fresno and Atascadero and the city of Suisun City. With a background in general policy, serving 3 years, for example, in the Fresno Police Department, where we served under George Hansen, whose claim to fame is that he was part of the community-based policing program. So I do know something about law enforcement, but I've also been involved in most areas in local government, and then, of course, specializing in finance and general management. Combined with that is that commitment to community. And I think that's the unique and compelling case to consider my candidacy. When you know how government works and you care about the community, those 2 combine and become a very effective force, and I do believe that that is an important consideration. 30 seconds? Okay. Beyond that, of course, my first priority is dealing with traffic, but I believe we'll have a chance to answer more details there. And I do want to point out that in the last 2 years, I think there's been some significant changes on the council, and I think you're beginning to see the return on that investment. We have a new city manager, we've addressed water fund issues, we've wrapped up cannabis, and we're going to wrap up Watson Ranch. I think there's some real momentum with the council changes that happened 2 years ago, and I encourage you to stick with the course. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jason Kishineff. I've been living here for 9 years. I have 2 kids at the middle school and an older kid that lives in Chico. Talking about my platform, I'm more focused on health issues like reinstating our farmers market. I want to put it back on the highway where it's visible and not in a hidden location like this parking lot over here so that it will be more successful. I would like to ban the spraying of glyphosates in our public spaces like schools and parks because this is a poison that's being tracked on our children and our animals into our cars, into our houses, and there are better ways to do things. I want to end the ban on cannabis dispensaries. I don't think that's wrapped up. Sorry, Mark. And on the issue of traffic, I'm sorry, Mr. Joseph, but I've been hearing that for a long time, and it's time to stop talking and time to start doing. Thank you.
Thank you. What a great turnout. American Canyon is my home, and it is a place I chose to raise my family, my children with my wife. It's also where we've welcomed my parents in their retirement. What I hope for American Canyon is that it becomes the choice that others like mine and yours have made. Choosing a welcoming community, choosing families who celebrate diversity, and choosing a community ready to invest in our future. Since the day I moved here 13 years ago, I have been working to help American Canyon reach its greatest potential, and so has my family. I was a founding member of the Open Space Advisory Committee, which eventually opened up access to the Newell Preserve and the Wetlands Trail. I was chair of the SR 29 Citizens Advisory Committee, a member of the Broadway District Specific Plan, campaigned for School Bond Measure H, and have coached and sponsored both all the youth sports, basketball, soccer, and baseball. I'm a lifetime founding member of the Parks Foundation and donated to the campaign to build this building right here that we're sitting in right now. My wife was a longtime board member of the American Canyon Moms Club, where we formed a circle of friends that forms the basis of our cherished relationships that we have in this city. She currently serves as the vice president of the American Canyon Arts Foundation and, of course, has done plenty of work for youth sports as well as many community events. My mother and father, my mom who's here right now, are highly active at the Holy Family Parish in American Canyon. As a family, we are active and engaged members of the community. Together, we call American Canyon home. In my time here, we have experienced progress with the Newell Preserve and the wetlands, frustration with traffic, and reward, coaching our kids, winning the school bond Measure H, and raising enough funds to finally build that church. We know what it takes to fight the good fight and to move this town forward. I want to ensure that we complete American Canyon so that my family, your family, and our businesses have everything to succeed and thrive. I am the only candidate here raising children, and I want to represent some of those families. So anyways, there was a little bit more. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? My name is Robert Vega. Some of you may know me. Some of you may see me on the AYSO fields during soccer. Some of you may have seen me and met me at the elementary school, the middle school, and even the high school. Why am I running? Well, you know, I can honestly tell you that you guys out there are a lot smarter than us because we know that as much and frustrated as you are about what's going on in our community, you guys still didn't jump into this rat race that us five did, and that makes you significantly smarter. That way you get to sleep at night. You get to do a lot of things that all of us have been lacking in the past few months. So why am I running? Well, like many of you, I'm a volunteer. I raised my children here. I have 4 daughters who've gone through the school system here. I have 2 that are still in the high school, active in various sports. But like many of you, I have to deal with the traffic too. I have to deal with the TOT tax. I have to deal with the water rates. I have to deal with school safety. I have to deal with the lack of funding and the considerations of cutting our funding for our schools. Most of you probably went to the meeting last night and kind of heard that they want to cut our 7th period. Well, I want to be an active supporter of preventing that. I want to be a part of the community. I want to be engaged in a different level that I've already been. I've been here for 15 years, and every year that I've lived here, I have been engaged in our system in some capacity. I am a proud parent. And I believe that as a parent, you have to be engaged in the community to be a part of the community, to represent the community. And that's one of the things that I feel that does lack in this community. In this panel up here, I am the only parent who had a kid go through from middle school, elementary school, and in the high school. And that I can tell you. You don't have to believe me, just look it up. Thank you.
I'm going to stand up because there's some people in the back that can't recognize who I am. So hello. My name is Pierre Washington, and I'm running for city council here in American Canyon. I want to tell you a little bit about me so you can kind of understand where I come from. Born and raised in Philadelphia. My mom's white. She's Canadian, French. My father's black and Hispanic. Lived there for 16 years and moved to Texas for 2 years to stay out of trouble. My dad said, you're going to move to SA to stay out of trouble with your auntie and your uncle, not LA where Will Smith went. So I went to San Antonio, lived there for 2 years, joined the Navy, spent 11 years active duty in the Navy, decided to leave active duty to seek a career in law enforcement. The Navy brought me to California, where I actually met my beautiful wife, Cheryl Lynn, and I'm gonna ask her to stand up because I want people to know who my beautiful wife is. That's Cheryl Lynn. Because of her, I'm running for city council. She gave me the permission, and that's the bottom line. We have 7 kids. They've all gone through the school system here in American Canyon, elementary school, middle school, and high school. I think the school system did our kids a great deal. So from that standpoint, I'm very proud of what we have. So there's a lot of probably negative things that you probably hear tonight or want to talk to us about tonight. But we have a great city, and I want everybody to understand we have a great city. One of the points I wanted to make is I'm a man of faith as well. I'm an elder at my church. I served 3 years as an elder at my church. I work with Faith Food Fridays. I give to people. I live a servant's life. I was in law enforcement, 22 years in Richmond, where I served the community of Richmond. So bottom line is I have a heart of service. I served our country, I served cities and counties. And what I want to do now is serve you. So that I ask that you give me the opportunity to earn your trust and earn your vote. Thank you.
So question number 1 will be led by Robert Vega. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer. Valerie will wave that 30-second high in the air so you guys can see it if you're not looking at her. You guys can also stand up if you want, so people can see you in the back. Just putting that out there. All right, so question number 1. Overall, economic and community development can take many forms. Please list your top 3 development priorities in American Canyon and what resources you would use to achieve results.
Thank you. Economic development in American Canyon. Well, first of all, let me go back. My wife is here also. Gloria, can you stand up? And the reason I'm running, because I also got permission. So economic development takes many shapes and sizes and forms. We already know that. We know that we have the Watson Ranch project that's coming on. Well, I'm very interested in that too. So these 2 minutes, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to explain everything that's going to entail, but I will tell you this. I want that development to be able to be something like Yountville or something like Santana Row in San Jose that's going to be inviting, that's going to have entertainment, that's going to have fine dining. It's just going to be somewhere where we can just go and hang out, but yet we can still support the community because we would have to solicit people to have and bring their business here. So one of the economic development ideas that I have is we got a lot of people that live in American Canyon that have businesses elsewhere. So we should start by looking at what we have here and what we need to do as a community to entice those individuals so they can bring their business here and maybe give them a better quality of life versus having to drive to Vallejo, Benicia, or even somewhere further. I met a guy walking on our streets. He has 5 Quiznos. He asked me the same question. Why can't we increase economic development here? I asked him, why don't you bring one of your stores here? He said, it's because we don't have enough street traffic. Well, one of the things that I've learned is that American Canyon might be small, but we're not alone. We live in a tri-valley. We would solicit Vallejo and Benicia as whatever store comes to American Canyon, I guarantee you we're going to support it. Just like Walmart. People come from Benicia, people come from Vallejo, and they go to Walmart. Just like we from American Canyon, Benicia, and Vallejo go to Costco. So that's one of the revenue streams that we need to make sure that we support here in American Canyon. One of the other things that we need to do is that when we do this economic development, we need to make sure that it's I have it all right here. I will hand it to you.
Economic development. My number 1 priority for economic development here in American Canyon is public safety. For me, that's very, very important and it's close to my heart. I think without a solid public safety, the city is destined to fail when it comes to safety. And safety, when I say public safety, I'm talking fire, I'm talking police. I'm also talking about the safety for our seniors. I'm talking about the safety for our children, sidewalks, to make sure that they have what they need to get to and from their homes. Economic development, to me, means that what we need to do is think as a group, as a council, what's best for our people. Our people who? You. You're our people. So we need to listen. Our economic development depends on visiting your homes, finding out what you want to come to this city. That's very important. I've had a lot of years of experience with Genentech because I failed to mention earlier that I'm also, because I knew I had a 2-minute time frame, I failed to mention that I also run the security program for Genentech, which is in Vacaville. I'm responsible for all the 12 Genentech road sites in North America. And in order to make that work, you got to have a plan. And you just can't sit there and pull ideals out of the air. So you got to have some type of structure. I deal with public safety for Genentech. So I had a strategic plan. I'll be able to share that with you in more detail when I have more than just 2 minutes. But it all depends on what we do as a council and what we do as reaching out to the community, because we have to hear, we have to listen. One thing I learned more than anything else, having a wife and 4 daughters, was I got to stop and listen. So what we need to do as a council, stop, listen, see what you want to be here in the city. That's first and foremost, because everything else doesn't matter. If you're not happy and you're not confident in what we're doing, then we're not moving forward. So economic development begins with you, the people. And that's what I want to represent, the people. If that means going to, you'll find out what I'm talking about later.
All right, well, this is some serious time management. Let me pick the 3 topics, the development priorities that I would do. First and foremost, finishing up the Watson Ranch project. Second, finishing up the Broadway District Plan, the 29 corridor study. And then lastly, focusing on our Green Island Industrial Park. It all fits together in the concept of improving your jobs housing balance. Because the reality is the more people that can live here and work here, you're going to make a better community, less traffic, a more engaged community. That's really the secret. So how do those 3 projects fit together? Well, Watson Ranch will provide housing as well as the ruins, which some of you, if you made it to the evening at the ruins a couple of weeks ago, you know how incredible that site is. That can be very transformational for this community. That's an important project that we've got to move forward on. The Broadway corridor plan is going to provide more of a retail opportunity and experiences all along the corridor with great places to get together and meet. And then lastly, the industrial park is obviously a job-based opportunity. We've got a lot of wine and food-related and beverage-related areas. We can continue to expand on that and grow our job base from there. All of that fits together because it creates the housing you need, the retail you need, the job base you need. That's how we make this a great community. And that's what that's what I've been working on. That's what I will continue to work on. It is a priority. Thank you.
My top 3 business priorities. First of all, I'd like to establish something called a co-op incubator, which would help educate people how to open new businesses with partners. I think that with Mandy's cooperation, that might be done through the Chamber of Commerce. I'd also like to put my mark on the Watson Ranch and downtown Broadway projects by getting some kind of a set percentage that requires a certain percentage of those small businesses be owned by American Canyon residents and not by people from Up Valley. We need to keep American Canyon money in American Canyon. And for my 3rd priority, I would like to amend the zoning ordinance to prioritize small businesses because we need local businesses, not corporations and not tourist traps. Thank you.
We are not yet complete, and we need to complete American Canyon. We're going to do that in 3 ways, and I've listened to this community for years. We need to complete Watson Ranch. We need to complete and build out Green Island Road District, which is our community district over there, and we need to improve the highway, which is the Broadway corridor. Starting with Watson Ranch, that creates us 2 things. 1, a sense of place that we have all been wanting for a long time, which is a town center, which will include new schools, a river to ridge trail, a bike trail, as well as the all-important Newell extension that will go all the way to Quinlan's Tires and finally get some relief off of this highway. When it comes to Green Island Road, it matches in terms of jobs and creating jobs locally here. We have an opportunity to play an important part in the ecosystem of our valley, either by creating more wine jobs or creating new businesses that are related to food, like the Lock-in Union distillery here. There's a lot of opportunity there, but developing that also comes with creating a new road. Devlin Road will go all the way down to Green Island Road. And when we open up Commerce Boulevard over on Eucalyptus on the other side over there, we will be able to get from wetlands all the way to the Napa DMV without getting on the highway. That creates a better quality of life for us, and that also provides jobs, housing, parks, and services. We need to focus on those things. And then finally, on the Broadway district-specific plan, it is one of the things that the city looked at that was good, in my opinion, prior to me getting on council. However, we need to think a little bit more deeply about it. We need to think about how to make that highway look good now and today. And that means looking at our tax structures, our city fee structures, as well as incentives to invite and incentivize businesses and investors to be in this community. Thank you.
So the next question will be led by Pierre. Same structure. The American Canyon business community, specifically Green Island businesses, are very interested in road infrastructure improvements like the Green Island Road rebuild, the Devlin Road extension, and the Newell extension. What is your position on these projects?
I knew I was going to get the road question first. I'll be the first to admit that there are some learning curve things that I have, and this would probably be one of the largest learning curves that I have to understand what's already in place. I'm currently attending the American Canyon Citizens Academy, and where I'm learning a lot of items that have been brought up about roadways and things that have been occurring here in American Canyon. This was one of the classes that we just recently had. So I have a bunch of information that was delivered to me. So I can't really speak to that in a way that I think that I want to say something out there that's going to be factual. I do know, however, that there are plans that are already in the books to widening Highway 29 to 3 lanes, both south and north. I can't tell you here now when that plans to take effect, but what I can tell you is that I will work restlessly to make sure I educate myself to represent what the board is doing and being able to communicate that out to the public. So if there is one weak point that I have, it would probably be that project. So with that said, I won't bore you. We're trying to mumble through that whole process. I started my candidacy in July 2015, and I'm getting myself caught up. And one of the things that I'm doing is using that Citizens Academy to get me up to speed. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and pass that on to the next person. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Well, as I said earlier, traffic is my #1 priority, and I appreciate the question. Let's talk about the Green Island Industrial Park first. That is an important project because our industrial base, frankly, is based on that area, and the roads pretty much have been beaten almost into gravel. So the strategy that we're pursuing is to combine grants that we've received, traffic impact fees we've received, as well as reaching out to the business owners there and asking them to agree to an assessment. That process obviously takes a while. It's hard to convince somebody that they should tax themselves to get a road, but we're moving through it, and we hope to be successful early next year. That'll provide the funding mechanism to rebuild all of those roads, Green Island, Hanna, Commerce, Mazetta Court, and so on. That's going to be an incredible asset because those businesses generate literally thousands of employment, is a major basis of our economy. So we want to see that done quickly, and that's the strategy. For Devlin Road, as Councilmember Oro mentioned, that is, in my opinion, about 2 years out from being completed. That will provide an incredible opportunity. Since Supervisor Ramos is here, I'll do an inside joke. Yes, we've got to get the county their money to build their segment, and we've got to finish designing and building ours. And I, for one, would say it's going to get done in 2 years or less. I know if staff were here, they would get uncomfortable because they would say, I don't want to be committed to that. My attitude is, this is too important. It gets done. The last one, the Newell extension, again, you've got to leverage your developers. Watson Ranch is probably going to pay about 2/3 of it. There's some land that wants to be annexed. They're going to build another portion, and then we can leverage those 2 projects to finance through grants or other funding sources to get it built and get it built right. That's how we can deal with traffic. Thank you.
I agree with Mr. Joseph that the industrial park is very important. Regarding the Devlin Road expansion and the Newell Road expansion, again, that's what I was mentioning earlier. We've been hearing about this for years, and it's telling us it's going to be 2 more years. Why aren't we working on it? I just went out there yesterday to look for the trucks. There's not even work trucks. Let's get it done. We're talking about money. How about taking the 2% of our hotel tax that we're currently given to the county to promote tourism, which is just bringing us more traffic, and keeping that 2% in American Canyon and putting it towards the roads? Thank you.
I kind of touched on this a little bit in my previous answer, but I'm going to repeat that message that we're not yet complete. I am fully supportive of extending Devlin Road down, and as well as improving Green Island Road. It is a road that is painful to drive, and it needs to be done, and I'm glad we're making progress on that front. On the Newell extension, totally supportive of that as well. But I think what you guys need to know is that traffic is the #1 issue. And it is one of the things that I've implored council to continue to fight for. And that's why we've been focused on that for so long. And that's why you're starting to see action of what's happening on Watson Ranch, what's happening on Devlin Road, and what's going to happen with the school and once that's built there. I will say something tonight that may surprise you, because when I moved here, all I heard was council talk about Caltrans is not doing their job. Caltrans is not doing their job. In 2015, before I was on council, I went to the council and said, you need to look at your circulation element, which calls for the Newell extension to go all the way out, which calls for Devlin. My argument is, let us build what we can control and not worry about Caltrans. We have an opportunity right now, here today, to get Newell done, to get Devlin done. And I guarantee you that we will complete those 2 extensions, those roads, which will take at least 1,800 cars an hour off the highway before Caltrans ever widens that highway. Thank you.
Does this shirt make me look fat? Because I wasn't sure if I wanted to wear this one. Well, you know what, they made some really good points, and I'm going to tell you the same stuff. 50,000 cars pass down Highway 29 every day. 46,000 cars come down Highway 37 every day. You guys probably read the article about how they're thinking about diverting that traffic through American Canyon Road to Napa because we want to save the greenery. I get it. I support something like that too. But one of the things that we also need to know, our air quality. I'm a registered nurse. I know I didn't say that for you guys. I've been working for Kaiser for 27 years, and I'm passionate about what I do. Let me read you an article just before we talk about the traffic, but just in case my 2 minutes end, I support the Green Island Devlin connection too. It is about 2 to 3 years out, and it will support us. I also support the Newell expansion. We just don't know if we're going to connect it to the Green Island Road. There's been some talk that maybe we'll take it straight to North County Road. That way we can avoid Green Island Road altogether. But there are some other things that we need to consider. But I want to read you an article. Being a nurse and being a community nurse, that's what we don't have in this community. Let me tell you something. There are 2 major hotspots in this neighborhood that suffer from high asthma rates. The first zip code is 94589. Anyone recognize that one? That's right next door to American Canyon. That's Vallejo. The second hottest spot is 94503. That means for every 10,000 people, 52 of our residents suffer from asthma. So there's another element besides trying to fix the traffic. I support everything they said. I'm not going to tell you anything different, but we need to look at it in a different level. This is not an American Canyon problem. This lives in American Canyon, but it's a regional problem. We need to get regional people, people from other jurisdictions. This is a district-wide problem. We will fix it, but we need to get everybody here at the table so that we can make legitimate, sustainable change because we need to protect our residents. I'm starting to wheeze. My daughter suffers from asthma. So if you guys have that issue, you guys got to get on board with this. Thank you.
Mark will lead us off for question number 3. A quick housekeeping note, if anyone has to use the bathroom, it's through the glass doors right there. Okay? Okay. Question 3. Yeah. Water? Oh, can you check? The Chamber knows the improved quality of life offered a person who lives and works in the same area. We have a need for more local jobs. What are the top 3 industries you would try to attract to American Canyon, and why?
Okay, thank you. It is a challenge when you're the first guy because you barely get a chance to write the question down, let alone figure out how you're going to answer it. But that job housing balance that I mentioned earlier is key to this. So for me, the 3 areas would be food and beverage, the warehousing, logistics, and fulfillment centers, which is the latest buzzwords, and then home-based businesses. Let me talk about each. We have Mazzetta Peppers, we have Callebaut Chocolate, we have a number of businesses, not to mention Hess Wine and others, that are all food and beverage related. We need to pursue that and take advantage of those industries and nurture them and grow them. Years ago, there was a concept called industry clusters, where you try to develop industries. You have a core industry, and then you get the ancillary businesses that can support it. That's what we should be doing with our food and beverage industry in the industrial park. The other one is warehousing and logistics. We have literally hundreds of employees in that field now, and we need to encourage it because it's a great opportunity to build our base. The last one is home-based businesses, because this is a great opportunity where you can literally live and work in the same place. It reduces traffic, it improves your ability to get engaged in the community, and there are a number of areas where it's very viable. You don't always need to have an office somewhere when you can connect via the internet. Some areas, such as daycare services, can also be done in-house and provide a needed service as well. So those are 3 areas that I would want to pursue. I know it's always exciting to talk about high tech and jobs in that area, and there are some opportunities that might occur, but I would want to focus on the safer bets of food and beverage, logistics and warehousing, and home-based businesses.
Well, really, if we change the ordinance to prefer local businesses and leave it up to you to open your own businesses, we don't have to woo a specific kind of industry. But in the interest of answering the question, food and wine industries are important. I would woo them. We need a couple of cannabis dispensaries once we get that cannabis ban taken care of, and the warehouses over on the industrial park, the Green Island, are also very important. I would stick with that. Thank you.
So when you have a good thing going, you don't necessarily want to get away from it. And so we obviously are a logistics point, and we want to build that out and have that there. And that's going to be a natural extension of what we're already doing. They cannot build enough warehouses there for wine warehousing. So there's an opportunity to continue to grow that business. What we need to figure out is how we get a little bit of tax out of every bottle that comes out of here. There's like at least $10 billion of wine being sold here from our warehouses. And if we could put a duty stamp on that, that's a hard project here, and I've talked to a lot of people. That would help us out in a general fund sort of city kind of way. But warehousing is one. And then this food innovation thing would be something really cool that we can have. So if you can't really do it in Napa where you get the Napa brand name, but you can do it here in American Canyon where you still get the Napa Valley thing, but you also get lower rents, and you can do more of a startup kind of thing. And Lock and Union's one of those. Our Marshall's Honey is one. But what are the new food things that we could come out of this valley would be one thing that I would like. And then the other one is something that we should be capturing a little bit more, and that is tourism. If we can get 1 or 2 more hotels in town, particularly on the Watson Ranch project, and particularly if we build the town center, we begin to create a sense of place where people want to visit. They want to visit our wetlands. They want to hike our Newell Preserve. They want to go to Napa and stay down here for a lower thing. That adds tax dollars to us. You want to know why Yountville is really nice and cool? Because they get a lot of tax dollars and have very little people involved there. And so that's why they get those nice streets. We need to grow that tax base a little bit. So for me, it's continuing with some of the warehousing and logistics, some craft and food and spirit innovation, craft and food tech, if you want to call it that, and obviously just to capture a little bit more of tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So what 3 things would I focus on? I want entertainment. I want fine dining. I want restaurants where I can go and eat and I don't have to drive to Vallejo. I don't have to drive to Napa. I want a quality of life too. I want to come home from work and just kind of hang out in my neighborhood, spend my money that I earned somewhere else because we don't have a hospital here. But being that, I would like to see more hotels too. I know that we get the TLT tax from residents who stay there. Did you guys see how much Napa made? Like $1.6 billion in tax revenue. 69% of that just from the hotels. When we could tap into some of that market. So I would love to see hotels here. I would also like to see the food and beverage. I would like to see a place where I can go hang and have my wine here. I'd just try a little bit of wine. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I like beer. But you know what? We can have a little place here. We can microbrewery, you know, something where we can entertain the older children. You know, but I want to see some family-friendly restaurants. I want to see some family-friendly business. That's what we need to bring here. We're a family-friendly community. So we need to entertain that so that our families can still come here for their services. I mean, I don't want it to be like Napa where everything is a wine tasting. I would like to see some wine tasting for some of us adults, but I would also like to see some family-friendly businesses here, and that's what we need to solicit that kind of entertainment here. It needs to be multifaceted for everybody in our community, and that's one of the biggest things I think we lack in our progress is that we're not really thinking holistically, including everyone, but we can do that, and we have that opportunity right now before this development starts. So in soliciting the kind of businesses that we want here, this is the time we need to do it. It's a pivotal moment for American Canyon because we're at the cuff of something big. Now, I can tell you right now, there's some cities that say absolutely no blockchain stores. Well, people are thinking kind of crazy, like, well, why would we even have some kind of restriction? Because I guarantee you, once we build up what we have a vision for, people are going to want to be here. And we're going to have to tell some people, mark my words, we don't want your business because we will have what we want. Thank you.
I'm not going to say the same thing these guys said because some of those things are kind of obvious, and you got to look at who you are. When you look in the mirror, you got to say, okay, this is who I am. This is all I can do. You got to look at American Canyon in a mirror, and utilize other cities and things that they have done that have become successful for them, and things that have failed in those cities. We say we want more hotels, but I can go to a hotel right now, and they'll tell me they don't have enough people coming there. Well, so what are we doing to support the current stuff that we have? It's nice to say what we need to have, but if you don't take care of what you already have, nothing gets done, and all you're going to do is have places collapse. Again, that goes back to strategic planning. We have a senior citizen home that needs to be addressed. We have a city that I've retired in that I want to be a senior citizen in. So I want things that will accommodate me. I want things that are going to accommodate the current senior citizens that we have. But if you ask what kind of companies we need, look at the cities that have strived with certain companies that are like in the biotech world. Vacaville, for instance. Genentech is a huge contributor to that city. Biorad and Hercules, huge contributor to that city. And not only do they contribute to the city, they offer jobs that are great paying jobs. You get a hotel, you're going to get a hotel person making maybe about $15, $16 an hour. That'll be okay. But I'm talking about we need to think a little bit better, a little bigger. Hospitals, I agree with you, Robert. I think we need hospitals. You know, a lot of us in here are baby boomers. We're going to need hospitals. We're going to need care. That's the things that we should be focusing on. I don't want American Canyon to be a destination people come to. I don't. So I disagree with you on that, David. I want American Canyon to be the family-oriented community that we are. When I walk in a Safeway, I want to be able to say, hey, how you doing? Know my neighbors. That's what I want. American Canyon is what it is, and we need to try to keep it that way. And if we're going to bring companies in here, bring companies that will benefit us.
All right, question number 4. How do you view tourism today in American Canyon? And how do you view tourism in American Canyon in 4 years at the end of your term?
Can you repeat the second part of that?
Yes. The second part, how do you view tourism in American Canyon in 4 years at the end of your term?
Well, right now we have a couple of nice hotels, and anybody that stays in those hotels considered a tourist, even if it's my mom coming to visit me. And those tourists, they're not hanging out in American Canyon, and they're not going to Zacatecas, and they're not shopping at Safeway. They're going up to Napa and St. Helena, and they're spending their dollars up there. So I'm not really looking to expand more hotels and more tourist spots. I'm with Mr. Washington, and I want to be able to get my computer repaired or my bike repaired without going to another town. So I'm looking at tourism staying pretty much the same. A few hotels is good. No more hotels. Leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the candidates come up here and said that American Canyon is what it is. That's not what I'm about. I want it to be about tomorrow and what we're driving for, to make our place a little bit better. And that involves completing American Canyon and doing the right thing to build out the infrastructure and get the amenities that we've all been wanting for a long time. A town center, bypasses to the highway and to the traffic, which will include Devlin and the Newell extension. It's about the future. It isn't about what it is today. We're not here to talk about today. We're not managing a city for today. We're thinking about and building a city for tomorrow that is something that we all want and deserve. With regards to tourism overall in general, I think, there's going to be 2 more hotels in town, maybe 1 more on the highway, and then 1 more on Watson Ranch. And I think the one on Watson Ranch is going to be a high-end hotel, but, it's something that also comes with a town center. It comes with the Newell extension. It comes with a new school. It comes with the River Ridge Trail. Those are the things. Now, as we worry about development in town, we don't have that much more to do. It's the Watson Ranch project. It's Green Island Road. Anything we do after that will be infill, and that infill will be Broadway specific. We're not going to build on the wetlands. We're not going to build on the hills. And what I'm saying to people as I walk around town and talk to people, let us do these few key things, and we will have the city that we deserve. Thank you.
What the question was, how do we see tourism now in American Canyon, and how do I see it in 4 years? Well, I think we're at capacity with tourism, right? We only got a couple hotels, and they're always full. How do I know? Because I see them, our guests, walking to Holy Family Church on Sunday, and we get to acknowledge them as guests from other places. So I really appreciate that. For other Holy Family Parish members, welcome. How do I see it? Well, we got the ruins. You guys have the big night at the ruins. I mean, that raises a lot of money. That's really great. That's what we get here. I think we raised over $200,000 this year, I think something like that, net or total. But how I see tours here, I hope to expand that, because we want American Canyon to be a destination place. A drive-to, not a drive-through. 60% of the cars that drive through right now don't stop in American Canyon. We don't have anything to offer. Safeway, Togo's, Mountain Mike's. Thank you, Mountain Mike's, for coming here, believing in us, because we believe in you. So this is what we need to do. We need to expand our tax base by getting tourists here, because no city can survive without that. We need that. Although I appreciate our residents, but we don't go out and patronize our restaurants every day. We had that Chinese restaurant that was here, closed down about 2-3 years ago, and that food was great. It was a little costly, but it wasn't sustainable. So we need tourists who come and stay in our hotels and patronize our restaurants and patronize our stores so that we can have a sustainable life here. I want people to work here, to live here, and to spend their money here. If I don't do that for you, then I'm not doing my job. It's all about the quality of life. If you don't have a good quality of life, you will be looking elsewhere. People are moving out of the state because they want something cheaper and they don't want to feel like they're in high demand for something else because people just want their money. People want to live affordable. People don't have endless amounts of money. American Canyon is going to be that place where we are going to live, and we're going to live good with a quality of life with strong leadership. Thank you.
tourism today, tourism 4 years from now. Again, I disagree with you, David, on the planning. I think we do need a plan for today. I think we do need a plan for the future. The only thing we can't plan for is what happened already in the past. That's done. We have a senior citizen group on one end that I feel that the city can do a better job. We're doing an okay job with them. I think we could do a better job. Then we have the youth in our city that I think we're doing an okay job with, but I think we could do a whole lot better job with. I think our focuses sometimes go into these big developers and these big companies that we try to bring here to make American Canyon, again, something that is not. We are what we are. I will stick with that same, and if some people may not like that, but again, I'll go back to the saying, when I go to Safeway, I want to see the people. I left a city in Richmond, and I see what kind of things come to a city when you start trying to do more than what you can. You bring a certain element to your city. We don't want that here. That's why public safety is at the top of my list. I think that for tourism, I'll be the first to say the best tour I ever got in American Canyon came from Fran Lemos. And the best tour I'm going to have in 4 years from now will be from Fran Lemos. Thank you.
Well, I do have a certain advantage here because I've served on the city's tourism improvement district for the last 4 or 5 years. So I can tell you that where we stand now is we have 3 hotels. Tourism is a little bit down, but that's as much due to additional rooms, rest of the valley, and that's kind of depressing the revenues right now, and that'll bounce back in time. But for me, we are the affordable alternative in Napa Valley, and that is an important niche, and it's where we can make some big money. So I do support tourism. I think in the next 4 years, we may see 1 or possibly 2 new hotels. I think it's important to remember the financial benefits and what we can do if we're smart about it. The hotel that's being talked about right now could generate at least $500,000 a year in new revenue. If we're smart, we're going to earmark that money before we throw it into the general fund and earmark it towards capital reserves, set aside so that we can renovate our parks, renovate our roads, build restrooms in some of our parks, as well as upgrade our skate park and other projects. You've got to begin to consciously setting aside enough money, and $500,000, frankly, isn't going to be enough, but it's an important start. So that's part of why you want tourism. Now, other things we're doing right now is we're rebranding. We're establishing our brand, and like I talked about, it's regarding affordability and accessibility for the Napa Valley. Those are important things. Now, the last thing I will say is this. You need a revenue plan. It's true that if you have too much tourism, your community will get impacted. But with a revenue plan where you say, if we're around 10 or 15% now and we think it's optimal around 30 or 35, that becomes your target. And when you get there, that's when you start saying, okay, we're done. We've met that. And that's the important way, and that's why my financial background is important, because I look at the world that way and analyzing it, and that's what I'm proposing for tourism.
This is the last chamber question, so if you have questions, please write them down and hold them in the air. Marianne and Steve, can you grab those questions and start working their way forward? So last question will be led by David Oro. And we want to hear, I don't like how I worded it, but sorry. What are some of your goals for your 4-year term, and what do you think you can accomplish by the end of the term if you are elected?
Thank you. We're going to finish what we started. We're going to get the road done for sure. We're going to put a shovel in the ground for Watson Ranch, and we're going to take a hard look at what we can do on the Broadway district-specific plan to actually beautify and complete that highway to our liking. And that includes figuring out how we can get in a multimodal kind of way with bike paths and sidewalks and improve the safety along that, take those power lines down and beautify that whole thing. And that's going to be something that we'll need to look at in terms of how we are incentivizing others. We need to get these schools done. I campaigned very hard for Measure H in 2016. I'm the only candidate up here that was sitting at the farmer's market at a table every week trying to get out votes, making phone calls, and knocking on doors. We need to hold the district accountable to build us a new Napa Junction school and also to build that all-important middle school so we can alleviate some crowding over here at ACMS. Those are the things that I will be focused on. Just wanted to take the opportunity to clarify some things that people have been using my words. American Canyon deserves to be a destination, not a drive-through. This is something that I put in my application in 2016 when I applied for council. There's some remarks with here suggesting that it's all about development, but really the vision for me is that we become one of the Bay Area's best cities while keeping our cultural richness and diversity in place and intact, and also celebrating our small town feel. We can do that while we build out this city. It is very possible, and it is something that is very achievable, and I look forward to doing that with you.
Thank you. So what would I want to accomplish in my first 4 years? Well, talking to people, the first thing I would want to do is share the road for the bicyclists in our community. That's a big issue. There's a couple of people want me to fix the tennis courts. That's important to the community, right? My daughter plays tennis, so maybe some of you play tennis. Of course, the traffic is important. Initiating the new extension, that would be great. Finishing Devlin Green Island Road connector, that would be fantastic too. When I have to drive my kids to school, you know, it's troubling on that Highway 29 in the morning. But what's really more important as to what I want to accomplish is really what I'm going to accomplish for you guys. Because I'm not here running for me. I'm here running for you. I'm not running against these guys. I'm running to earn your respect, your trust, and your commitment to me. That's what I want. I want to make sure that someone's in that office representing you every day while we're there. I go knocking on doors and I meet people and they know me from somewhere, and that's just fantastic. I see kids on the streets who knew me when they were small in AYSO and they're now playing in high school. That's an amazing event. So what I want to do in the 4 years is I want to make sure I take your ideas, what you guys have planned for American Canyon, and let's work together to put that into place. All these things that we're talking about, structural infrastructure, that's going to happen. It might not happen fast, but it's going to happen. And I guarantee you, I'm going to work hard to make sure that we get that thing moving. It's not always about who's at the table or when we're going to sit at the table. It's who you bring to the table. And if you bring the right people to the table, we can actually make some actionable work. And that's what I'm going to bring to you. As a nurse, I bring the same work ethic as a nurse. If I see something wrong, I identify the problem, I create a goal, and we aim to achieve it. If we can't fix it after the first try, we restructure the goal and we keep at it. So that's what we'll do for you. I guarantee you, we will have town halls, so you will talk to me every month. We're going to share this. We own it together.
My focuses for the first 4 years of my term will be first and foremost servant leadership. I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to be out there starting stuff up, serving, and breaking things down for you. Okay? I'm going to be a representative for you and a speaker, ambassador for you in Sacramento, so the people in Sacramento understand where American Canyon is. I'm going to leverage our city councils to the south of us, in Vallejo, to the north of us, in Napa, all the way down to Yountville, and then and beyond. I'm going to leverage and collaborate. We do a good job as adults telling people that they need to collaborate and they need a partnership, but we do a bad example of showing it ourselves. So I'm going to be that example for the seniors, the youth, and the ones all in between. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. Better infrastructure. When we plan to do things, I'm going to have some foresight to it. Have them understand that, hey, look, we have a vision of what we want to do in this city, but hey, have you thought about the public safety impact? from fire or from the police department. That's my commitment to you. One of the biggest things I would like to accomplish in this next 4 years is term limits. I think that if you can't do what you need to do in 4 years, you shouldn't be reelected. And if you can't do anything that you're supposed to do in 8 years, you don't need to be in office. So my thought is that that will be my platform for the first 4 years, is to make a change. And you just threw me off with that thing, but that's good. You know, we have a habit of saying what we're going to do over and over and over. We don't see changes. I'm not saying anything in particular, but Einstein said it the best. You know, what is insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting a different resolution. I'm here to tell you, I'm going to give you a different resolution. So I'm asking you to trust in me, and I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Well, I too have some lofty goals and then some smaller ones. At the lofty end, I'd like to see Watson Ranch started. I'd like to see Devlin Road completed. I'll change that. I will expect to see Devlin Road completed, as well as movement on the Broadway specific plan. But beyond those loftier goals is smaller things that we need to do. One of the things I realized going door to door is a recognition that we aren't engaging the community as much as we need to. So I will commit, if I'm reelected, to having town hall meetings throughout the community on a regular basis, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, so that I can get that feedback from the residents and not just every 4 years. I think we need to encourage more home businesses, more home-based businesses. I think we need to expand the Citizens Academy. We've done a good job kind of giving a description of what we do, but we need a Citizens Academy 2.0 that's more focused on policy, because that's where you get your future leaders. Term limit or not, you want the best people, and the best way to do it is not hand-picking them, but by encourage everyone from the community to get to know the community better. Learn what the city does and doesn't do. Learn about policy. And then, after you spend some time in the community engaged, that's when you should think about running for office, not decide to file and then figure out what's going on. The last thing is I would like to see a little more emphasis on fiscal policies. I've talked about a revenue plan. There's other things we need to look at. We've got to start setting monies aside to replace the major capital infrastructure, the parks, the roads, even our major facilities. If we aren't planning ahead financially for that, we're just going to get more complaints from residents, and we're already getting that. It's a sign that we need to pay more attention to our long-term financial conditions. Those are just some of the things I'd like to see in my next 4 years, and I pledge, if you give me another chance, I will commit to doing all of those. Thank you.
In my 4 years, I'd like to put the farmers market back on the west side of the Walmart parking lot, which I'm told is city property. It's very visible there. I think that can be a regular community meeting place. I'd like to rebuild this aging temporary skate park over here that's many years past when it needed to be replaced. It needs to be rebuilt. It needs to be a permanent structure, and it needs to be done not in the time that we're taking to fix our traffic, but immediately before kids start getting hurt. And I would like to, as I said about the business, I'd like to amend the general plan to prioritize small business, because I am the corporate-free progressive. I am thinking of the people of this city, not the developers from Up Valley. Thank you.
So now we're moving to our audience questions. Robert, you will lead off this one, and we'll continue in order. We'll shut this down at about 8:15, and then you guys will do your 1-minute wrap-ups so we can leave on time. I honor everyone's time, so thank you for being here. I was handed a question and told that one of our youngest folks in the audience wrote this question. So I love that, and it's a great question. The question is, you keep talking about growth. What's your plan for wildlife, animals, and open space?
That's a very good question. Let me tell you something. I'm an animal lover. I know you can't tell by my looks, but I'm Mexicano. I was raised on a farm. We had animals, cows, horses, all that good stuff. But moving here, I can only dream of having that. I can barely get out of bed, let alone take care of a cow. Well, what my plans are, I want to keep this place kind of very similar to what it is. I want to have the Watson Ranch development, but I want to have, and I want to be able to continue to have farm animals on the outskirts. Because, I don't know about you guys, but I was raised on a ranch. You smell a little bit of cow poo, you feel at home. That's just me. But you know what? I'm all about that. I'm all about keeping people connected to the wildlife. I can barely see, let alone bird watch. But there's people that like to bird watch. I want to make sure that's available. We know that we do that on Highway 37, and we have this huge area here at the wetlands where we can continue to do that. I want to make sure we keep that available. I want to keep the trail, the new trails up there. I want to make sure that's available. My friend rides his bike all the time and posts it on Facebook and see all this cattle running around. I mean, that's amazing. That's keeping connected to nature. I want to make sure that's preserved. I mean, you got this young man over here who constantly promotes open space, and he works really hard. And I want to make sure we have open space here. I don't ever want to see houses built on these hills like some cities have done, because we have some wildlife that we need to preserve and that we need to cherish and that we need to make sure it's available for my children and their children. I'm telling you, man, American Canyon, I mean, we're at the cusp of exploding, man. We're going to be something amazing. I thought maybe I can't afford to live here later, but I'm going to do my best to stay. And I want my kids to live here. I raised them here. Their friends are here. I have a lot of friends here. Some of you who like me a lot, some of you who just like me. But that's okay, right? Either way, I'm going to fight for what I believe is right. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to present you, and I'm going to represent you. Thank you.
To preserve some time, I'm going to echo what Robert just said. That was pretty good and inspiring. I also agree that American Canyon is a very special place. It's a special place that I decided to retire after 2 retirements. I think the environment is very, very important. I think it's important for our health, for one. It's important for our community. It's important for me to be able to watch my grandchildren. I have one grandson now. Watch them play and enjoy the nature. It's important to me to make decisions based on environmental research and environmental studies. So those are some of the other reasons why I think that when I made my statement earlier, that American Canyon is what American Canyon is. It's a beautiful city. I want to keep it as a beautiful city. I don't want to have the pollution in the air destroying the fresh air that our children run and can have an opportunity to enjoy. So I am very much in support of keeping the environment safe. I will probably attend more meetings to educate myself so I can learn more about the environment. So those are also my promises to you. I also love seeing the cows running on the hills. And I don't want it to end up like, again, the cities that I've worked in the past, because I see what, again, the element that it brings to a city. We are, again, what we are. Thank you.
Well, I do support growth because I think it's a key element of providing revenues as well as job opportunities and retail opportunities. But I'm also a big fan of open space. And as it so happens, years ago as city manager, I played a key role in securing the Newell Open Space Preserve as well as getting the grant funds to get you the wetlands area. So I have literally put my money where my mouth is on open space. In addition to that, I helped establish the Open Space Advisory Committee and have worked very well, and I'm proud of the fact that I found Barry Christian, or he found me, and we've had a very good working relationship over the years. Barry has probably done more to get open space than anyone else. So, Fran may give good tours, but Barry gets good open space. So I think my credentials of open space are very well established. I'm proud of what I've been able to accomplish over the years, and I look forward to going out walking back in the wetlands with Cheryl and myself. We kind of put it on hold due to the campaign, but as soon as November 6th is passed, we will be back out there looking at the squirrels and the hawks and everything else. So open space is beautiful. Thank you.
It's my personal philosophy to put the planet and the people before the profits of businesses, always, 100% of the time. I will always protect the environment. I will always protect the wetlands. I love walking along the wetlands. I love hiking in the Newell open space. I worked hard for Measure C, which failed, unfortunately, because not enough people in American Canyon were aware of what it was. And disappointingly, only one member of our city council was publicly in favor of Measure C. With more work, we could have protected the hillside. Thank you.
Before I even had a curtain up in my house 13 years ago when we first moved here, I was appointed to the Open Space Advisory Committee. And I served on that for 2.5 years before we had kids and life got a little crazy. But the first two people I met were Barry Christian and Nance Manson, and the people that were part of that. Is Todd here? Is anybody else here? No, they're not. I am a lifetime founding member of the American Canyon Parks and Community Foundation. It's clear that I am supportive of open space, and we were talking about the wildlife. That is some of the best things to do, is just to go walk out there and enjoy that jewel that we have. And, you know, I continue to talk about a sense and place, and that's the thing that we need to protect, and it is a sense of place for us. It is one of the things that makes the Bay Area a great place to live. If you look at the good cities in the Bay Area, we not only have infrastructure and things to do and buildings and whatever, but we preserve and protect that open space. Palo Alto has it, San Francisco has it, Marin County is very good at it. Even in the urban cities of like Oakland, you can get up into the hills and enjoy that open space. We need to protect and preserve that and keep that here. It is what makes our town unique. Thank you.
Community question number 2. We'll start with Pierre. The question is, before running for city council or outside of city council, what is your community involvement?
My community involvement. First and foremost, I served our country. I did 22 years. I served the city in law enforcement for 22 years. I'm involved in my church to become an elder. I live a life of servancy. Since I've been in American Canyon, I've joined the Lions Club. I'm actually getting sworn in on Monday. You're all welcome to come watch me get sworn in. But community service also means, what are you doing for the community of your household? Again, I'll go back to servant leadership. I serve my wife, I serve a great God, I serve 7 of my children. They're not in school, in the high school systems now. They've gone through that. They're in college. They're successful. I've been an ambassador for my household, and I will do the same thing here in American Canyon. If you look at anything, if you research me in any kind of way, I live a total life of servancy, and I'm proud of that. Thank you.
Well, as I've said before, I've served the community as a civil servant, as a community volunteer, as your council person. 25 years of engagement, starting with the Arts Foundation, because, again, in addition to great tours, Fran Lemus talked me into joining, and next thing I knew, I was the treasurer and president, and I've been there for something like 20 years. Got involved in Relay for Life when it was first started. Been a charter member of the Kiwanis Club, and this time my wife talked me into becoming a more active member. I'm a treasurer now for the Kiwanis. Also a life member of the American Canyon Community Parks Foundation, a life member of the library, Friends of the Library group. If I don't participate actively in an organization, I've used most of my council money to sponsor and support soccer, Little League, the Boys and Girls Club building here, the Holy Family Parish Building Fund, even the Women's March. As I've said on other occasions, I see my council salary or stipend as basically a charitable trust that I give out. So if you've got a school PTO or something that you want to hit me up for some money, please see me after the discussions. I am an easy mark. So that's my commitment to this community. I care about it. I care about listening to all of you and learning from you, because it's easy to get up there on the council and try to make decisions. But you've got to be able to listen to everybody and try to integrate all those concerns and craft the best solution. Thank you.
I've been living in American Canyon for 9 years. I've not always been extremely active in the community doing these things, but in 2016, I got hit in the face with how corporate interference in politics really messed things up, and I work for Bernie Sanders. I volunteer for Bernie Sanders' campaign, and since 2016, I've been working for Measure C. I've been working to stop the Orsom Cement Factory in Vallejo, which isn't really a huge issue in American Canyon, but it should be, because when those particulates get in the air and the wind blows north, we're going to be breathing it. Mr. Vega was talking about the asthma. It's a real factor. And I've been working to stop a school bond, trying to go in Napa and just around. Thank you.
I said it in my opening remarks. When I moved here, I was part of the Open Space Advisory Committee. I've served on the Broadway Specific Plan Committee. I chaired and was elected chair for the SR 29 corridor study. I coached all those I have 3 kids, so I was coaching soccer, baseball, and basketball. I also sponsored a lot of those teams, particularly on the baseball side. Again, I'm a lifetime founding member of the American Canyon Community Parks Foundation. I've given to this building, and like Mark, when people ask, I will get involved. I've sponsored some stuff at ACMS, some of their poker nights and things like that, and also attended those things. But it's a family affair. My wife is currently the vice president. Your turn to stand up because everybody else did it. It's my wife, Patricia, there. She's currently the vice president of Mark's longtime club of the Arts Foundation, and so she's involved there. And my parents are super active in the church. In fact, my dad could not be here tonight because he's doing an event for the Knights of Columbus, and while we're doing family stuff, Mom, why don't you stand up too? So she's sitting right here as well. So there you go. So yeah, we're totally involved, and we stretch where we can, and when we can't be directly involved, we try to give monetarily where we can.
Thank you, thank you. So what have we done? You know, I thought this running for city council was going to be tough, but I'll tell you, you have to run for PTO president at Canyon Oaks. Now that's tough, when you have a lot of moms wanting to tell you what to do. Well, I'm very fortunate because I have participated in a lot of activities here. Like I said, my kids grew up and went through the school district here. I have a daughter in band, and soon the soccer starts, I'll have 2 daughters on the soccer team at the high school. What else have I done? Well, as a volunteer at those schools, I took pivotal roles as a major volunteer, right? What do you do in the PTO? You raise money. You engage the community. You bring the people and the parents together. Why? Because that's what we do. That opportunity allowed me to meet a lot of people. I met Melissa Dugdale. She got me into soccer. I went into AYSO. I met Travis. Travis is here. Man, he's half the size now, so I could barely see him. Congratulations on your weight loss, Travis. But I met wonderful people that got me involved because I saw what they were doing, and I said, you know what, I can do that. I didn't join these organizations so that I can get my kids a head up on anybody. I joined that organization because I wanted to make sure my kids and everybody in that organization got what they deserved. And that's pivotal. You know, I still run into people. I run into kids. Like yesterday, we went to visit a family, and she remembered me because I was part of the DJ team for their school dance. I mean, how amazing is that? But, being in the AYSO for a long time, the Lions Club, and on Friday, I'm going to get sworn in as a Knights of Columbus because I'm Catholic. And I'm a member of Holy Family Church. And I believe in giving back to the community. We volunteer with Season of Giving with the Kiwanis. I mean, there's a lot of things that we've done here. I participate as a coach with the tennis team, and we definitely support the soccer team at the high school. You know how many times I've had to work in that cafeteria at the football field? When you want to watch your kid, you got 2 kids playing in JV and 1 in varsity, and then you're cooking. All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to go down to 1 minute to squeeze in one more question. I think we had so many audience questions. I'd be happy to type these out and send them to all the candidates. I believe all the candidates have an Elect Me Facebook page. I'll leave it there. I'll give the questions to them, and they can answer how they see fit. So for the last one, we'll go back to, it says you talk about tourism, but what about entertainment and outings for residents, like bowling, miniature golf, and the movies? I can't read the other ones. What about, we're starting with Mark. It's Mark's turn. So what about entertainment and outings for residents, like bowling, miniature golf, the movies, etc.?
Well, certainly those are important things to consider. I think when you're trying to develop those kinds of opportunities, you got to look at your market. We are a very family-friendly community, so those types of entertainments, bowling, the Chuck E. Cheese type franchises, those are all things that we can attract. Again, got to remember, my kids are grown, they have kids, so I may be 1 or 2 generations out of place. So yes, we can pursue those types of opportunities. We do have some spots along the 29 corridor that would be ideal. We need to understand our market and then go out and try to find those business opportunities. The last thing I want to say, since everybody else has introduced their wives, I'm going to embarrass mine and ask Cheryl to stand up. And although I will readily admit that everyone else's wives are very attractive, mine is the best. So there.
Good answer. I think that these kind of entertainment things are extremely important, and they're just what I've been thinking about lately because we've got all this traffic going by, and a bowling alley would be a great incentive to stop. Not that anybody's going to get out of their car in the middle of traffic to go bowling. But yeah, I think these things are great. I was just talking with somebody before this forum about a botanical garden, which I also thought was a great idea. So yeah, no, I think those are great. Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's why I've been a big advocate for Watson Ranch, because there's going to be an amphitheater there. There's going to be a public space there. There's going to be botanical garden or gardens or community gardens that are going to be there. But I like to think about it a little bit differently, and I think those things are nice, and we probably have 1 or 2 of those, but I think we should probably try to get our kids outdoors more and to be interactive. That's why I was a big supporter of the Clark Ranch Project, which includes things for kids to do. There's I'm forgetting the word now, but it's like an interactive sort of playground where we can do things like that. So would be supportive of it. We need to create the environment for that to come in here. But let's keep a focus on what kids can do away from computers or indoors and be more natural in terms of play.
I agree with David. We need to get our kids out there. We got to do anything we can to get their stinking phone out of their hands, right? Get that computer screen away from them, because that is the issue. You get that text neck. I see that as a nurse. So what I propose is a sports complex. The baseball field where it is now, there's some space. There's an opportunity right there. I know that the city is doing something about getting some kind of study there to see what's feasible. Can we build a sports complex here for American Canyon so that we can host some playoffs and some, whatever you call that, get some other organizations to come here and compete against our team so that we can actually solicit some funds from that too. So, I mean, I would support that. Definitely what the Watson Ranch brings in. We need some kind of amphitheater. We need somewhere we can bring our kids so they can play the instruments that they learned to play at the high school, because clearly we have outgrown the amphitheater at the high school. We need to bring something where we can definitely, all our parents should be able to go and enjoy our kids, and not just a lucky few that got to get a ticket before they sold out. So in addition to that, I would like to see the trails. I would like to see trails. People are saying that, a miniature golf. I mean, if we can build that in the sports complex, that would be fantastic. It should have multi-use, because once, there's no one playing on the field, we should, as residents, be able to go out there and enjoy that. Thank you.
I'll help get you some time back. I agree. I think those are great things to have sports events and things for the community. I still focus on the senior citizens. I think we need to do more for them, have more opportunities to get them out of their homes and gather and networking with one another. So I think that's a great idea. A commercial break real quick. Holy Family is going to have a bingo thing going on October 5th that I hope you guys will support. It's a fundraiser. I think that's also another thing. I love bingo. I may not look like I do, but I do. Hopefully, you guys could get a chance to support that on October 5th. That's a commercial break.
We're going to do one more rapid fire question. You get 30 seconds. This way, each candidate answers a community question first. I'm trying to stay in order so it's fair. So Jason, you're going to start this one. You have 30 seconds. Are you a team player or do you work better alone? How do you plan, if you are elected, to build consensus with your colleagues?
Am I a team player? I am not a team player if we're talking about something that doesn't favor the people or the planet before the businesses. My focus is the people and the planet. I'm a very friendly person. I'm willing to work with anybody, and I'm able to work with anybody, and I think that we can get the job done. Thank you.
Yes, I'm a team player, and I will invoke that in terms of listening to the community. And if the community is saying something, then and the council's not agreeing with that, I won't be a team player. But listening to the community and driving that through council is what I will do.
Tell me when. I am a team player. That is the nature of my business as a nurse. I have to be a team player. Not only am I a team player, but I'm also a leader. In addition to being a leader, I'm also capable of having that difficult conversation with individuals who may not be such a team player when we need them to be. And secondly, the decisions that we will be making at the city council, if I'm there, will be decisions that were brought from the community. It wouldn't be a decision that we would be deciding that's something we created. It would be something that was created by you guys, so that's something that's going to benefit you and benefit me as a resident as well. Thank you.
I am a team player. I'm not a fan of working in silos. I think that in the city council, I would be an influential person to kind of get everybody together, work as a team. I think it's very important. With 7 kids, you got to learn how to do that.
Yes, I am by nature very collegial. I strive to be a team player. But over time, when you begin to realize that things aren't working out well, there will come a point where I will break from the team. And frankly, that's what happened a couple of years ago. I was getting frustrated at the direction or lack of direction with the council. So back in 2016, I worked for change on the council. So yes, team player generally, unless it gets really bad for the community, and then I'll do what I have to do what's right.
Keep with our order. Now we'll do our closing statements, starting with David.
Since my appointment in February 2017, there is a new tone for getting things done, moving from talk to action, complacency to progress, plans to results. We are moving forward to be the city that we deserve. In the 18 months on council, this is my first political office ever held, and in what I believe speaks to my energy and leadership, I garnered the support of the following elected officials and organizations: Congressman Mike Thompson, State Senator Bill Dodd, State Assemblymember Cecilia Aguilera Curry, Napa County Sheriff John Robertson, the Napa DA Allison Haley, all 5 Napa County supervisors, including our very own Belia Ramos, the Napa Valley Board of Trustees President Marianne Mancuso, our NVUSD trustee President Joe Shunk, who is here tonight, the Napa Solano Labor Council, the Napa County Democratic Central Committee, and the Napa County Young Democrats. There's much to do. Your vote supporting this vision and strategic approach keeps the momentum going. I want to be your council member who has a seat at the table working for you and our stakeholders to achieve our greatest potential, tomorrow's American Canyon. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm going to read what I wrote so that I don't miss any points. So my philosophy to approaching this role is very much the way I live my life and its extension of my professional work. I devoted my career to helping people. We deal with multiple needs and wants, and much like daily lives, it's also a reflection of our residents' needs. We have to make difficult decisions that benefit the community as a whole, and not just my personal wants. I am not coming here to paint you a picture of what Robert wants. I'm here to represent you as the residents want, and I will work tirelessly to see this through. But I'm not promising you that it will be easy. What I offer to this council is what I already do for the community. I give you my time. It's truly gratifying to see kids grow and become young adults, and as important as it is when you say hi to them on the streets. I make time to engage my patients as I have made time to engage many of our residents. Some I knocked on the doors, others I've called or made meetings with them via Messenger or Nextdoor. The important takeaway is that I'm personally doing this work and not anybody else doing it for me. Listening to this is, I met this man named Jojo. Thank you.
My goal is to show the city measurable advances. Is to serve as a servant leader, as I mentioned before, and to be a transparent representative for the city of American Canyon. My biggest goal, besides public safety, is the fact that I want to continue to advocate for the senior citizens of our community and the youth of our community. So that's my commitment to you, and thank you.
I started off talking about the combination of experience and commitment to community, and I want to end with that as well. It's very important to have that kind of technical public background in how things work, because it's easy to promise you everything that you want to hear. But when you've got 30 plus years experience running cities and finances, you know what's realistic and what isn't. I will promise you what I believe I can deliver, and nothing more and nothing less. The other point that I want to make is there has been some changes on the council. 2 years ago, there was a new majority. Since that time, we've achieved a lot of things. We've got a new city manager that's committed to getting things done. We've wrapped up big projects like the water fund situation, cannabis. We're wrapping up Watson Ranch. There is some momentum. There's no particular reason to change horses in the middle of a stream when things are running well. We're on a good track. I encourage you to stick with the momentum and consider staying the course and re-electing me and David Oro.
I am the corporate free progressive. I'll say again, I want to prioritize your needs and the earth before the needs of big money. I want to bring to the city something called participatory budgeting, giving you, the taxpayer, a say in how your tax dollars are spent, some of them, because we have to pay for important things like police and fire first. I want to build an American Canyon for the residents of American Canyon, not for the rich people in St. Helena and not for tourists from across the country. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You can watch this on our Facebook channel if you want to rewatch. On the back of your program, there was a promotion for the upcoming American Canyon Quest that the Chamber is organizing. Happens on October 20th. You'll be going all around town, seeing businesses that you may or may have not seen before. It's going to be lots of fun. You can find out more and register at AmericanCanyonQuest.com. Thank you again for joining us. That wraps up tonight.